It's felt like a really long week for me too. We spent a lot of my week this week was spending helping my office move out. So we no longer have an office, which is super nice because that means I'm 100% work from home now. No longer need to do the short streams on Wednesdays in order to make actually go into the office. That's all behind us now, which is nice. So let's see. That being said, we are moving on. Okay, so we did a video and we did a article yesterday. So today, sort of looking at this, we have route handler responds with JSON. All right, so let's take a look at what we want to do for this. I don't think we have anything like this. So maybe responding with JSON would be the name of it. Because I already have like a working with JSON, but this would be, oh, I guess this would be Axum specific. So Axum responding with JSON. All right, what are our objectives? The API, the assessment that's attached to this is the mirror API. So that's one where basically we just take in JSON and we send it right on back out to whoever sent it to us. So we need to be able to take in JSON and we need to be able to respond with JSON. So I guess this will be accept JSON. So Unreal Realities. Hello, good morning. Thank you so much. Okay, so how is this course different than the Axum course we have on YouTube already? Well, I guess like there's probably two main differences. The first one is this is for latest Axum. The one on YouTube is for 0.15. I think it's 15, not 5. It's something with a 5 in it. And then the one on YouTube is, no, sorry, I got this backwards. YouTube is 15. This one is 16, and the next version that's going to come out someday is going to be 17. So this will be for like the latest version. And the second thing is this is going to be a combination of articles and videos together. So it's, not just having to watch a video. And I guess like another difference, this one has assessments as opposed to just a project that you work on. The assessments are kind of like mini projects, but with more sort of like, okay, you have to like, now do this thing with automated tests in there. So it validates whether or not you did it correctly. And I guess the final one is this one you can optionally purchase to go on your own, or you can purchase to like sort of go as a live course with me. So those are the main differences. Also, YouTube course is available now. This one's taking this is taking a while to get ready, so there's that to consider as well. I guess other little minor differences, I dropped authentication. I don't think that it was really necessary for like learning Axum. That might be something good to sort of maybe do on its own like a sort of micro course. This is what we got so far. I have no idea what that is. Oh. I opened this up on my phone to try to sort of look at it and play around, and it did interesting things when I was trying to pan it around. I have no idea how to rotate it back, so there we go. So I dropped authentication, and you can see here, this is the plan that I have. These ones are these purple are the assessments. They're already done and up on YouTube. Up on GitHub right now. These are basically articles that I'm writing. So like a lesson is going to be an article, a blog style article, and a video. And you can see like the various check marks that I have for which ones I've done. And there's a lot here to get through. But the kind of courses that I usually make are fairly deep and involved. I remember, like, so far every time that the course has been shared in social media, that's been a contentious thing, is like, oh man, it's so long. It's like, yeah, learning is hard. Absolutely, yeah. And I guess like the other thing is I'm building a lot of it here live on stream. So there's like ways to essentially see the content behind the scenes before it comes out. And also, like, you know, this is an option to not have to pay for it. So you can like actually get some of this content for free. I'm sort of like half joking that this is like essentially the free tier version. Andrew, hello. How are you doing today? Also, I don't think I asked you. Unreal Realities, how are you doing today? I don't like this. I like that a lot better. Let's see what else. Can take in path. Okay, so other ones are gonna be path variables. Okay, we're gonna have later on. We're gonna do custom HTTP status code, so we don't need to worry about that here. So basically, this is just gonna be focused on JSON. So that's nice. Then we could just do basically with this. I guess maybe a brief like introduction. So let's see. So JSON is one of the most popular data transport. How would I describe this in like good words for this? It's like formats, data storage formats. So it's data formats. JSON is one of the popular formats to store, to like transport, to use when transporting data between applications, especially in the web development world. This means that if you're going to be using Axum to create an API for a browser, it's likely you'll be dealing with JSON. JSON isn't the most efficient data transport or data format. It is extremely portable. I mean, I think I can get away with saying like every language, because I think every language actually does have something to do with JSON, right? So every modern language has the ability to serialize and deserialize to from JSON, which makes it the format of choice when I guess like dealing with data, or I guess like when sending, receiving data. Okay. I guess here this would be like a Y, right? Okay, so YJSON, and then I want to essentially walk through. So let's like set up a basic API. Okay, so we're going to begin with a Hello World API since we we're going to begin with the Hello World API. If you already have one, and we'll follow along. Or I guess like my suggestion is that you build and burn this. So like I suggest that you build and burn new hello world API. Time you want. I guess like every time we're beginning a lesson to help ingrain. To help build muscle memory. Okay, so I won't be walking through creating the hello world. I want to go back to this hello world and make it more capitalized. Okay, I'll be walking through creating the hello world API, as we already have a lesson for that. Please be aware, I'll be starting from the good architecture version of the world. Okay, there we go. So let's actually do this. Okay, so right there. Now this is gonna be something with JSON. All right, what do we need? We know we need a bunch of things. Let's just go ahead and add those, right? So we're gonna do cargo add. I want Tokyo with those. I want Axum. I want tracing. I don't have like any Tokyo add that has like them all together, do I? So hold on. Let's fix that. So we have Tokyo, we have Axum. We have tracing and tracing subscriber. We have cargo add. Wait, can I do multiple together? I don't even know if I've. I don't remember if I do. Maybe I can't. Let's find out. So let's do Axum and tracing. So cargo add Axum and tracing. Okay, yeah, that works. So I'm able to add both at the exact same time. So if I do cargo add Axum tracing, tracing subscriber. Tokyo, we get those. Oh, feature macros must be qualified by the dependency it's being activated for. like Axum. Oh, okay. So this is going to be Tokyo. So Tokyo macros. Tokyo RT multi-thread. Okay, so that's good. So what do we have? We have Axum tracing subscriber, Tokyo, and I want tower HTTP with tower HTTP trace. Okay, so that should be, I think that's everything I need. Other things. So I don't actually know if I really need the hello world there. I don't think that matters. So it's more just going to be like, okay, we're going to add this in. Hey. Okay, so I tried to add cat cam again, but it's been, okay, it's frozen. How do I get you to unfreeze? So it's kind of working, and it's kind of not. Oh, you were facing the camera, and now, okay, fine. Hey, how's it going? What I don't really understand is why sometimes this like this camera that I set up sometimes just freezes. Let me make that a little bit smaller. We can put it over here on like maybe bottom left. All right, I'll keep my eye on it. See, every once in a while, I'll check to see if it's frozen. Hopefully not. Okay, so we have oh, that needs to be live.rs, doesn't it? Live.rs routes mod.rs. I'll add in the other one after that. I think that's pretty much it for the good one. So we'll start with mod. Oh, I can't really start with that, can I? I have to start with live. I guess there would be some, we can do the tower HTTP thing on here too. So the layer. Okay, so that sets up all those things. Now head back to you. Okay, make Clippy happy. We have that set up. We also want a async function. Oh, I forgot. You know what I forgot? Error. Nope, don't want that. Go away. I want to. Oh right, I think I can resize. Can I resize this? Oh, interesting. That doesn't do what I want. I want something like that. Okay. Pub async function run. All right, so start with app. I also need to, let's see, probably before this, we need to tracing. Yeah, tracing subscriber format in it. Then we can do all these things. Then I want to say that we're live. So we'll do okay, there you go. That's what I wanted. Into make service. I don't think there's anything else. Oh, we have to wait and then we can question. All right. So we have you. What are you upset about? Am I moving? Argument never used. Oh, I forgot the brackets. Oh, I put the brackets over here. Why did I put the brackets over here? Okay. That should make you happy and should work. So let's head over to main. Okay, so we have app server new, and then I want to match that run. Okay, and that's pretty much that. What are you upset about? Expected a semicolon. Where? I have a semicolon at the end of that line. App.run wait. This shouldn't need a semicolon?
Yo, change that beat up. Here we go.
I'm creating a variable here, right? Let app equals server new. What's wrong? Why do you hate this? Let's try running this. You are fine. Okay. That is the LSP that is not fine. Rust Analyzer is not super happy. Why are you still yelling at me? Expected semicolon. Where? Why? Okay. Let's try quitting, opening up Helix, going back to main, and seeing if you still have the same problem. Okay, I think we're good now. All right, so we got our hello world. You know, it makes me wonder. I wonder how easy it would be to set up a script to just spin this out as like a template and say like, okay, I want a new hello world app. Let's just go, and it just like dumps this out. It creates these files, creates the folder structure. There's a crate for that, right? Where I can just basically have, I could have a GitHub repo that has this in it, and maybe it would just work. Oh, Zippy just turned around and I don't see the camera turning around. Hold on. Okay, so now he's facing halfway the other direction. Yeah, that might be a good idea. Might be a good idea for me to like copy this, put it up online. So let me do that part. So I think this is set up as a good hello world here, right? Like we have our information coming up. Okay, I think so. So let's okay, so here's a hello world created. I want to do a GitHub repo create. Let's push an existing one. This one. Let's call this Axum hello world. I can put this in Brooks builds. So, hello world, app for Axum. I guess like hello world API. I'm missing the hello world, aren't I? Hold on. If I'm gonna actually put this up as a hello world, I need to add in the hello world. Well, actually, no, wait. I don't do it as a hello world. I do it as just a template. So not a hello world. It's just like Axum API template. Current directory is not a Git repository. Oh, because I'm in source. That's why. Okay, so this one I should do Axum API template. So put this in Brooks builds, description. So this will be template for creating APIs in Axum. This is public. Go ahead. Create that there. Origin. Yes. I was hoping that I could like get an option to turn this into like an actual template. Is that something I can do? Because there is the idea of a template repo in GitHub now. All right, so here is the Axum API template. Can I tell you to be a template? Oh, they're right here. Template repository. Good. Okay, this makes me feel a little bit better because do I have to save that? I don't think I do. Public template. There we go. So now I can copy this. Come back to you and we're saying, okay, we're going to begin with a hello world. We're going to begin with a basic. So, okay, so we're going to begin with an API already created. I'm using the template at to start with. Feel free to create your own or use this one. All right, so we have that all set up and we're happy to go. Okay, so what's next? We are I guess what are our objectives? Our objectives, okay, extract JSON in a route handler. So we want, okay, so extracting JSON. I guess extracting JSON is a two-part thing. First, we have to choose what we're extracting and set that up in a JSON struct that has surday. We need surday. So I want surday with the derive. Which I guess I haven't done anything yet, so I should be able to Adding, I guess added insert a. Okay, so well, all right, so when we're accepting JSON, we need two things: a struct that defines what the shape of the JSON is going to look like, and to tell Axum to extract the JSON. Since we can't tell Axum something we don't have, we have to start with the definition struct, with the I guess with the struct side. Wheeler, hello. You haven't been here in a while. Well, welcome back. Awesome to have you. How are you doing today? You finally woke up early enough. I know, I do stream pretty early. I am streaming a little bit later though these days. I'm going not just until like 7 or like 7:30. Now I'm going all the way to like 8:30. So, I mean, it helps, I think. It certainly gives me more time to do stuff, which is nice. You're doing good? Awesome. That's great to hear. All right. So, you're working on planning out features for your compiler. Nice. What kind of compiler is it going to be? All right. I don't like this. I'm gonna start over. Scott, hello. Willer is not a Toggle Bit fan if he thinks you are early. That's, well, okay. I want to say that's true, but that being said, Toggle Bit will stream later than me. Yeah, so Toggle will sometimes rate us after a very long day of streaming. And sometimes we'll raid him because Toggle has been going on for a long time and then continues to go on for a very long time. And I'm like lurking on the side while working, watching. Toggle Bit streams at 3 a.m. on the East Coast of the US. I know. Let's see. Is he on like, I know he streamed a little bit early. He was streaming when I started. Toggle is not streaming now. Toggle Bit is not streaming now. So. Also, Scott, how are you doing today? Normal Dev, hello, welcome. How are you doing today? You like the fluffy boy? It's a boy. The camera has been acting up, so I sort of switched things around. I replugged the camera in, and it's it like is good for a very short period of time, and then it freezes. He's still there. He's like in this exact position, but okay, good. It works right now. To help him be a little bit more comfortable, I brought one of I put an old shirt on his nest, let him sleep there for a little bit, and then brought it down here, so it smells like, you know, comfort, and he's hanging out. The compiler is for a language, by the way. So like an actual spoken language, or is it like compiling to an existing language like JavaScript or TypeScript or something like that? Or are you inventing a language? What would a compiler to a spoken language be like? Is that even possible? Oh, you're compiling to assembly. Oh, okay. It's gonna be, you know, one of those compilers. That's nice. That sounds really cool. I don't have the patience enough to learn assembly or compiler type stuff to build that. I could start working on the project, and then I would basically after day one be like, okay, I want to go build something more high level. LVM is too complicated for you. Well, but like you're still making a compiler. Or is it more of it's really complicated so you're making a compiler? Scott, you're pretty good. Rust-wise, you're pretty good this week, starting to come to grips with a deeper understanding of lifetimes and ownership. Oh, that's great. Like getting to sort of like know those is the way to like, you know you're like getting deeper into like Rust. You're getting to that point where you can do some really cool stuff with it. That's awesome. Compiler sounds cool and exhausting at the same time. There's a game which walks you through creating a compiler. That's the one I've wanted to make, is the one where you play a game, and I don't remember what it's called. I have a lot of those games, but that'd be a fun one to do. I just don't remember what it's called anymore. You may or may not make your own kind of IR type tool. What is IR when it comes to compiler making? Because my brain goes to infrared, and I can't imagine that that's helpful in any way with compilers. Intermediate representation. Okay. Intermediate representation. Oh, is that like for statements that are in the middle of being created and you have to... Oh, no, it's not that. It's those steps. You have to like change it. I remember watching a conference talk about this a long time ago. There's steps you have to do before you put it into assembly to sort of make it so you can actually read through and know what's happening. I think that's the intermediate representation, right? All right. Let's say we're creating an API to inventory our game's collection. When creating a new game, we'll be needing something like the name of the game, maybe like a link to website or store page. So link to the game. I don't know if we need a link to the game. Like, let's say we have a game. Oh, well, like where it is. It's like where it's located. That way I can get like an enum maybe going. Where it's located. Do we own it? Do we own it? Or just want it? And then maybe like, have we played it before? All right, let's say we go with something like that. In Rust, we'll create a struct to represent this data. And Axum will use Serde behind the scenes to convert the JSON to this struct. Okay, so it's for cross compatibility basically. Okay, so it's for cross compatibility. Basically, assembly is different for every CPU and operating system. You blame Windows for making this harder than it should be. And we need something not different from CPU to CPU. And then the IR compiler tool thingy turns that into an assembly language that will work on your machine and into a binary. Oh, right. Okay, yeah. So I'm on a Mac with an M, like, you know, an M chip. And then there's the Intel chips for Mac. There's the old PPC chips for Mac. There's Intel x86 chips for Windows. Do you need one for like AMD chips too? It's like you have x86 64 Intel. You have x86 64 AMD. And this is only if we're like, I guess if we're only considering modern, you have 3 then, right? So like M, x84 64, Intel, AMD, and ARM. That's a lot. Isn't it? Is it X? Did I not say that? I probably think I did that wrong. Also, Mod Prog, hello. How are you doing today? x86 64. Isn't it it's represented as like x86 64, right? Yeah, for example, for M Mac chips, I would need to compile to ARM assembly, and then Windows has the registers mixed up for some reason, then x86 64 AMD. Okay. So yeah. It's so fun. I enjoy being at that higher level, and then developers like you make my life possible because I couldn't do any of it without the abstractions that you all make for me. So I am very grateful for developers like you. You would only have 3 assembly targets if it wasn't for Windows. I'm sorry. How often do the Windows one change though? Like if they are like extremely rare changing, then that's good, right? Let's target risk 5. Oh, yeah. They almost never change. Okay, so it's one of those things where like you make it once and you're good to go and you're fine. But making that one or 5 or however many you're targeting is gonna suck. Oh, Modprog redeemed Quack. Let's see. I still need to figure out sound from like the Mac getting up into the streaming computer. But until then, did I create a Quack here? I kind of did. So we can turn off view. Oh, I need to get a desktop switcher for this. That's what I need to do. So I could then show, hey, we're going to this. This one, right? Yeah. Go to that. Then I can come here and we have this is made by Danaka. It's really cool. And there's several different Quack sounds. And we can choose different ducks. So, yep. I really would love to figure out if there's an API and I can have it run the sound and maybe like pop up this automatically on OBS, but I don't know how to do that yet. I need to figure that out. Nope, didn't want to do that. Open up you. Okay, let's go back to this. And then I also want to figure out more things I can do with channel points. I had one idea, which was to do bets on whether or not Zilby shows up to say hi. Like it'd be stream long bets. Like by the end, you know, maybe in like the first, I don't know how long we can do a prediction for, like 5, 10, 15 minutes that you all put in votes on. And by the end, if he shows up, you can win your bet or you can lose it. All right. The easiest might be having a local web server. I have to click the button. That's the only thing, is I have to click the Quack button. And so if I figure out the Quack button thing, then yeah, I think it would be as simple as opening a local web server. And then I can have a button on a Stream Deck for that. All right. In Rust, we'll create a struct to represent this data, and Axum will use Serde behind the scenes to convert the JSON to this struct. So I guess like maybe a side note, where to put like these where to put models, like where to put the struct. Welcome back. Will so I didn't ask if like what's the pronunciation of your username? Is it Will? Is the J silent or is it not silent? Is it Will Hiller or is it Will Giller? I would imagine it's Will Hiller, right? The J is not silent. So, Wejeller. Okay. I'll try to remember that. I'm sad that Twitch doesn't have little note things the same way that Discord does. So I can't like click on your name and add a little note. So like, okay, this is how to pronounce your name. All right, I like to create a folder called models at the root of the project. And then these structs go into it. Better Twitch TV has that feature. Ooh, but who stores it? It's probably on Better Twitch TV's servers, right? Are they trustworthy? Oh, local. That's nice. That might work. I'll have to take a look into it. I like to create a folder called models at the root of the project, and then these structs go into it. In this case, the folder structure would be, so we're gonna have to actually go and put this in there. So we have our source, so we're going to make your source models. We're gonna touch source models mod.rs, and then source models. In this case, let's call it a games, like a game.rs. A lot of extensions just store things locally so they can market it as the 10 milliseconds difference makes it 300 times faster. That is true. It does make it 300 times faster. If I wanted it on multiple computers, that would be of course a different thing altogether. But maybe they would then say, hey, this is why you have to log in now. This be like ZSH? I want something like that. That might be good enough for that. Okay, so then we have this game and mod inside of here. Xanax Mister? Hello, good morning. How are you doing today? So each model have its own file. You're learning Vim at the moment. Nice. How are you enjoying it so far? Not good. What's seems to be like, what's hitting you the most right now with Vim? The shortcuts, you guess, and you're not sure if a normal keyboard is good for it. Most programmers using the separate one. What do you mean? What do you mean by separate one? Are you mean like a split keyboard? Okay, split keyboard. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's true. I have a split keyboard here, but when I first learned Vim, I was a systems administrator. I didn't even know about split keyboards. I was just using a generic well, I was doing Apple stuff, so I had an Apple keyboard. So I did that. So just a good old regular Apple keyboard. You know those ones that are like overpriced for what you get? I use that, and it's fine. Like so the keyboard I think is okay. Like a split keyboard doesn't give you like any extra keys or anything more to like make things Vim a little bit better. I think something that helped me the most when learning Vim is to think of Vim as a different language that you're learning. And it's a language of shortcuts. Like the entire point of Vim is to move through your code faster, because the idea is that you're going to spend more time reading your code and looking through your code than you're going to spend writing your code. So if you're only ever adding lines to your file, Vim isn't actually going to be very helpful for you. But if you need to like sort of go back and forth and jump around, sort of see where things are, Vim is going to be the fastest one that you can get out there. And everything is sort of set up around that. So all those shortcuts, all the like the command mode versus not command mode, all of that is set up around that sort of thesis. That may or may not help, sort of like have a different mentality around it. But yeah, keyboard is definitely not I don't think the keyboard is gonna like make a difference. Like you can go out and buy the most expensive split keyboard out there, and it's not going to make Vim any easier. I would actually say learning to type on a split keyboard is harder, because it's like the same, but like there's some slight very like difference in our brains, and it takes a little bit of time to get used to it. Matensis, hello. You concur, since using Vim, getting into shortcuts as a game dev forced to use Visual Studio has really helped productivity. You mean the using the shortcuts? Oh, now you only use shortcuts in Visual Studio. Yeah. It's one of those things where you don't really need to use the shortcuts, but then if you get yourself to use them, oh man, things are so much faster and so much easier. You know, another thing that helps me out a lot is to think. Now, this only works if you're a gamer, like if you play games. Now, we're on Twitch, so usually I can trust that we're all gamers here, right? Or at least we've played games. think of the keyboard as just a really complex, big controller. And then every time you go into like Vim, you're really just, you've got a complex game with a really complex controller settings thing. And like when we play a game, like we don't usually complain too much about like, oh man, we have all these controls. We just sort of learn it and figure it out by trying. That's exactly the same thing we want to do with our editors. We'll figure it out. You just try it. Try not to like let it get to you. Your NeoVim bindings are heaven. The big thing that I think is hilarious is that if you go and you use somebody else's Vim or NeoVim or say Helix or something like that, it is impossible to use. It's just like you can't do it because everyone customizes their system so differently that you're like, okay, I want to update this and do the things. The next thing you know, like you've messed up everything and you don't know how to do anything, and now the screen is in a state you don't know what it is, and you can't even move the cursor halfway through the line. I think that's like really fascinating and kind of funny. It's one of the few tools that we have where we just customize it so much for ourselves. You based your bindings off of Codicos and then just modify them and it works for you. Well, that's perfect. Okay, you think you're taking the wrong way because you don't have any solid knowledge in programming. You just want to start with Vim. I am just a framework user with Java, web, and some databases. You don't know why they used to teach us just on this. Oh, why they taught Java web and other stuff. I mean, Java doesn't change that much. Oh, bye Zobi. Java doesn't change too much, or at least it didn't back then, which means it was safe to teach in college. Nowadays, Java's changing a lot, but I've also heard that they sort of like stopped teaching Java quite as much. I'm not exactly sure what they're teaching instead, though. That being said, you can absolutely use Vim for all sorts of writing or text editing. Okay, so you're going to start with Rust. Nice. Java's starting to try to keep up with everything else now. It's doing a pretty good job. Like, it's taking some really good features and adding them in there. Now, I haven't used them, so like just from reading on like the list of features, it's like, okay, this is something I can like now. If I ever, were to program it, maybe, possibly. On paper, I can like it. You don't like Java's take on verbosity? I have heard about that. Yes. But I thought that they were trying to tamp down on that too. But maybe that's just wishful thinking. But yeah, so back to Vim. Anytime you have any text you want to edit or work with, your Vim is probably one of the best tools to pull out. If you're actually using Vim itself, and what you can do is you can create a knowledge base and just think of it like a bunch of markdown files, sort of like this. And there's a plugin for Vim called Vim Wiki, and it allows you to jump back and forth between different files using the link format in, like, essentially the wiki format for links, which is, I think, like the double. Like, I think if you do like that and like the name of that, it will let you like navigate now to that file, which is pretty cool. Xanax Mr. Gifting a tier 1 sub. Thank you so much. And also to Stacking. Thank you, Xanax Mector, for the tier 1 gift sub. Yes, you did. Here, let's see, can I, here, I will. Oh, you also subscribe? Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the 2 subs then. One for stacking, 1 for yourself. Thank you so much again for that. Yeah, welcome to the community. We have a couple of emotes that you can use. We have the Zilby one. That's my favorite one. I need to figure out new ones to put in there. I think I can add in 1 more with the number of subscribers that we have. Oh yeah, and the Rust sort of Ferris sort of like waving one. Oh, and I totally forgot we have the little badge. The 1 month subscriber badge is super young Zilby. I took a photo of him when he was a really young kitten, and that's him. So, all right, well, awesome. Welcome to the community. And let's see. What have we been doing? Right, okay, so we need to create this thing. So I created the mod up on here. So we have you. Then I want to go to mod and models. Pub mod game. And then we have here. Then we happen. I don't know what words to use. It's too early. Okay, so we want a pub struct. This is gonna be like a game. And we sort of mentioned what we want this to be in here. Now one thing, Xenix Mister, this is not Vim that I'm using. This is Helix, an alternative to Vim. It's brand new. It's in beta alpha. It's still missing a lot of features, but I've been getting used to it. It's nice. It changes things around. It's Helix, yeah. Early, where am I from? I'm from the United States in Colorado. So we're in Mountain Time, which I think is like GMT -6, -7. It is 7:19 a.m. right now. For me, at least. And I started the stream at 6. Okay, you're in Switzerland and it's 3 p.m. Yeah, it's interesting because the time that I start the stream, most viewers are in Europe, or at least on that side of the world. So Europe, Asian countries, very few people are hanging out in the United States awake at that time, wants to hear me chat about code. But we have a few. And then slowly over time, Americans wake up, and then over there on that side of the country, you're all heading home to go have dinner and, you know, actually end your day. All right, so we're gonna have a name, just gonna be a string. Where it's located. So let's have this be a pub enum. So like game. Okay, so Ronaldo, hello. Brazil. Okay, so you're in Brazil and it's 10 a.m. Okay, so you're 3 hours off. I guess you're either 2 or 3 hours off from me. To somehow help you with data structures and okay, wait. Does somehow help me with data structures and algorithms, or it's just for interviews? Okay. Yes and no. So data structures and algorithms are good to have, but it also depends upon which ones we're talking about. If we're talking about like linked lists and algorithms for like moving through theirs, not really all that helpful in the day-to-day sense. However, if we're talking about like more systems level. And it's like, okay, in general, we want like, I want to be able to have data structures like to create like JSON API style data structures, something like that. That's extremely helpful to sort of like know how to break things out, know how to normalize things. That's not necessarily normally taught in data structures though. Algorithms, generally speaking, knowing how to create an algorithm from scratch is a lot better, in my opinion, at work, at a day job, than it is to memorize the algorithms for, I don't know, quicksort or what's one of the fun ones that I've heard are in a lot of interviews. N queens. The N queens chess algorithm is not one that like you ever need in real life, especially algorithms where it's just memorizing math. Like there's no point in that at all for a day job. So basically the answer is yes and no, unfortunately, which is unfortunately like how a lot of computer stuff ends up being answered. Demorai, hello. Team USA East Coast. Yeah, so we've got middle of the country, we've got East Coast of the country. West Coast, generally, that's a little bit farther back. You got it and you don't. Well, okay. Sorry about that. That was a little bit confusing. So data structures and algorithms, when people say that, they usually mean very specific things. So something like data structure, create a binary search tree, create a, I guess like a graph tree. Oh, okay, it was a joke. Never mind. Sorry. There, sometimes though, because in the morning the jokes go straight over my head, and I then start answering things seriously. So that's fun. But just let me know. It's all good. And then I'll react appropriately. All right, let's continue on. Okay, so we have. Right, I was thinking about the name for this. So, location of where it is. Vendor? Can you even programming when you're reading chat? I mean, kind of. I go back and forth on it, and like sometimes I can, sometimes I can't at all. Oftentimes you're all helping me too. So it's like, have any of you done any mob programming? So this is not pair programming. This is even more like 3 or more people together. This is very similar to that, except we're all in chat instead of in person, just talking with each other. It's very similar to that. That's my preferred method of programming at work if I had the option. So I can do something like that. Game location. I don't want like a vendor. Oh, platform. Probably platform. So I want a game platform. It help. I think it helps that I'm dyslexic. One of the fun things about dyslexia is I make weird connections all the time. So I'm just kind of used to jumping around and having to restart a thread of, a brain thread from wherever this is. So that's, I guess, like uniquely set up for doing this type of work. I don't know. Okay, so we have game platform. Do we own it or do we just want it? So we're going to assume that if it's in this list, we at least want it. So owned can be a Boolean. Have we played it before? So completed can be a Boolean. And game platform. What are some different platforms we have here? So we have Steam. epic. We can do like switch and do Xbox and PlayStation. Okay, so these can be situated here like that, and then we need to tell everything that, okay, we need to tell Axum that these are Surday, so they can use Surday to turn this into JSON. So we have Surday installed, so we'll just derive, deserialize, import those and put that over here. Okay. All right, so now, wait, why did that change that from? Interesting. Did you notice that game and game platform were showing, hey, we're not ever red. This is never like sort of used. So isn't that sort of like the yellow with the underline saying, hey, warning? Now it's not that anymore. So I guess the derive macros trick Rust Analyzer into thinking that this is being read. I guess because like I thought there would only be impulse for it from this. There must be something else going on. Okay, so we have that. That brings us to here. Oh, right. I want to copy this. Okay. Note that we are deriving serialize and serialize from Surday for these for the struct, and it's supporting enum. So that Axum can use, I think they're going to use Surday JSON, right? So Surday JSON. I guess it'll just be Surday behind the scenes for us later. Kiss Killer, hello. How are you doing today? This editor seems like Nano++. It's, I mean, I could see that. It's a little bit closer to Vim. So the editor is called Helix. It's written in Rust. It's attempting to be more like Vim. So if I press escape, it puts me into command mode. So in that way, it's a lot closer to Vim, but it's also much simpler. Like there's not nearly as many features as Vim either. So because of that, it is more like Nano++. So I totally get that. Okay, so note that we're driving that. Okay, so we've created the types here. So next we want to define, but next let's create the route. Create a route handler to take in the game object. Okay, so I guess first let's go create that over here and see what we need to do. Nope, that's full screen. I wanted this one. All right, so we have end source, we have routes. Okay, I want to touch source routes. Let's do games.rs here. Okay, so we're gonna have a pub async function create game. Okay, for right now, this is an empty route handler that doesn't do anything. And so I should probably put in here, so this is, why am I doing pound? That's not how to do a comment. This is gonna be in, I guess, like source, routes, games.rs. And we're, let's actually do it. Okay, so you're saved, right? So then I can open up lib. I want to use, wait, lib? No, I don't want to be lib. I want to be in routes mod. There we go. It's games, create game. So before this layer, I want to do a new one. This will be dot route. I'm gonna go to games. We'll do a post for create game. Okay, and we're adding a route to the router with the path /games, where I keep on doing that. Like I guess like for some reason my brain is thinking that this is more like a shell script or something, as using that instead of //. Am I using GitHub Autopilot? So we tried GitHub Autopilot when it was in beta and it was free, and I hooked it up. I used it with VS Code and it was okay. I only ever used it for Rust development, so I didn't ever really like try it for JavaScript stuff, which I heard that that's where it was like, it was really good at that. The problems that, well, okay, it made the programming that I was doing on stream less fun because I was doing less coding and more reading of code. So I think I explained it as, it's kind of like you have a not even junior developer. It's more of like somebody who is just like self-teaching themselves programming. They don't know what they're doing and they're copy and pasting from like all these different sources online, and they're just copy pasting it based on what they think that you want. And it's mostly good. It mostly does what you want, but it like constantly is forgetting closing parentheses or closing brackets or other things. And the names were a little bit weird. Sometimes it assumed that there was types that were there that weren't there. And so I spent more time reviewing code. So it was almost like pair programming, but I wasn't the one doing the programming. I was doing the one watching the person and saying like, okay, I'm going to constantly check you. And I felt like I was doing more teaching GitHub hey, no, you're doing it wrong. Just change it to be this instead. And that wasn't, it just didn't fun. It didn't feel fun. I can imagine though, it's probably better now. I could imagine being extremely more productive with it. Maybe not extremely, but like more productive with it. But again, it makes it feel like you're more reading code than it is that you're programming code. And I want to program code. So yeah, I don't use it anymore. Also, now it's paid. I don't want to pay for it. So there's that too. Even after all the beta and like giving some feedback, they're like, okay, we can give you a discount. I'm like, no. The Primogen is using it for Rust. I mean, I just don't feel the need to use it for any of the things. Plus, I guess like there's another thing is I want to make sure I'm like really familiar with the code that I'm writing, because if I'm teaching it, I want to make sure I'm really like actually good and doing it right. If I was to get a job doing Rust full time and I have to write a lot of code, I would probably use something like it. Whether or not it would be Autopilot or one of the other tools, I don't know, but I could totally see that. Autopilot bottlenecks your learning process. I think it does at a certain point, right? Like I think at a certain point you can start using autopilot, but it's sort of like using ChatGPT to learn something. It's really hard to use ChatGPT to learn something before you've learned it, because you don't know whether or not it's telling you the truth. But at a certain point, you can have it teach you something or help you do something that you don't know, and it's fine because you have just enough context knowledge to be able to tell whether or not it's bullshitting you. So that's where I go with that. So my suggestion is if you are learning and you, I guess the other way is, if you're going to use it because you don't know how to do the thing, or you're not confident in doing the thing, don't use it. That's the key, is don't use it if you're using it as a crutch. If, however, you're going to use it as a speed tool, then use it. Absolutely. That's my rule of thumb. I guess I can throw in the entire function. That's gonna be fine. That'll be fine there. Oh, you deemed Vampire Survivors. I haven't. Oh, I wonder if this still works. I haven't tried this in a long time. Hold on. Where's it gonna open? Which screen is it gonna open on? Oh no. Okay, it's been a while. So I created a while ago. I was watching Doug Doug, and I got really inspired to try to make one of the Twitch plays things. And so I did it in Rust, and I was playing Vampire Survivors a lot at the time. So I'm like, okay, let's just do it for this and let's see how it is. We've done it a couple times. It's not a good game for this. You die so fast. Also, I haven't played on this profile, so I don't know if we're starting over. Worst case scenario, I'll go back up to the Windows computer and we'll do it there. Okay, Steam. You can do it. Okay. Are you finally launching? I have to log. Okay, never mind. I don't have my phone down here for Steam Guard. So, okay, let's see. I need to new profile window up here. Let's see. Oh, other keyboard. Some code. I keep on doing I have other and playground. No. Where did I put my code? Did I put it under documents? Documents code? Oh, I did. Okay, so documents code. Builds. Do I have my... Oh, there's this Twitch plays. Okay, so if I do cargo run, what happens? Is it gonna just work? Okay, it's compiling. I should launch too. Oh yeah. Okay, so I think it's working. Hold on. If I do 1. Hey, look at that. Okay, so hold on. Let me quit out of that. All right, so it's not actually working right now, but it's going to work. It's going to work, definitely. I need to install Vampire Survivors because I uninstalled it for reasons. Luckily, it's a super small game. If you haven't played this game, it's I like it a lot. It's a really fun game. It came out on phone, so you can now play on a phone, which is surprisingly easy to play on. And so now I've been playing on that instead of the computer. Okay, second generation i5 computer, 16 gigabytes of RAM, Broadcom components. It's a Mac Mini. What's the best Linux for this 13-year-old computer? Oh, I have no idea. I've never been really good at like deciding what Linux to go on those. I do know that the older it is, generally the better, but that's the i5, so that's still an Intel computer. The problem, okay, so the problem with the old Macs and Linux is that sometimes they don't control the fans. So whatever you install there, keep a very, very, very tight sort of like look. Make sure that the fans are running. Otherwise, it'll cook your computer. Because that has happened before. And that's just like old, generally any really old stuff they might have like, you know, just never used. And especially laptops, really old laptops used interesting things. So be careful about that. But if you don't care about that, or if it's just exploring around, anything Debian based, anything Arch based would probably work. Even Ubuntu might just work, maybe, possibly, who knows. Give it a try. Most of them have the ability to live load. Just use that. All right. Let us. Oh, there's so much more. Okay, so I just play Vampire Survivors. Turn off the music. We have you loading. Are you gonna be okay? So you're loading. And I can now, I only have one screen for this. This is really cool. I should turn on my preview so I can actually see what's going on. Okay, so everybody over to Windows Here we are. We're going to open up this rerun. We're going to play Vampire Survivors. And quickly, before anybody does anything, we're here. Oh, I got everything unlocked. Okay, perfect. So let's go with Garlic, because that actually gives us abilities. And so if we start, does this work? Does it still work? So if I do long up, maybe up, sure, maybe. I don't know if it's working. I think it's broken. It should have done that. So I don't have anything where it's like, the code is supposed to throw things into a thread and then actually click on the screen and like use the keyboard. So if it's not doing that, which I'm just standing still, so clearly it's not doing what it's supposed to do. Because like I'm supposed to be able to move around like that, right, with the keyboard. So if I try something like left, I don't need like that, do I? No. Oh, we're having thread panics. Well, that would cause a problem. So cannot transmute copy if destination is larger than source. Cool. It might not be, it might not be working. Oh, well, okay, then I died. I may have to remove that from the we'll have to rebuild it maybe. Or I have to get it working on a Mac. Then it might be good. So if I try up. No, up. Yeah, I think it's broken. Okay, cannot transmute copy if destination is larger than source. Ah, okay, that's too bad. So something updated, or I ran out of disk space or something, or memory. I'm not sure what's going on. Yeah, I can give you back points. I have so few things that we use reward points for. But yeah, let's reject, refund. And I'm going to remove that. Yeah, let's back to this. I am going to remove that from channel points. Okay, let's take that off. Maybe someday we can do that back again. We used to have a bunch of, so I've back in the past, we made a bunch of games and put them on put them like basically did like Twitch type plays or against me or whatever, and it was fun. It was good. Okay, do you know how to format document in Vim using a shortcut? Can it do that without the, I want to say that that's one of the ones you have to set up and that it's not default, but it's been a while since I've done it. Are you using plugins or is it no plugins? I like the fact that you might be able to get away with answers that are like even 11 years old with Vim. No plugins. Okay. Yeah, so here, Keeler was suggesting this. Basically, GG equals G. So give that a try. Also, Keeler, hello, welcome. Scott, you're using Linux Mint with herbs left room on your, which is a terrible pronunciation. Is that a custom version of Debian? On your MacBook Air, does Linux Mint have problems with the fans? Oh, does the Air even have fans? I don't remember. Did that work for you, Xanax? Hopefully it did. So it's kind of funny. I've never formatted a document in Vim without installing a plugin to do the formatting for me. So I've never done like the default formatting. It's always been like, okay, here's like, using a language server and we're going to format it and I'm going to add it to like leader, something. And like, I've never done the default one. Okay. Okay, some of them do. Yeah, I remember at least the older ones, I think, tried not to have fans because Apple's really big on noise. They want their computers to be as silent as possible. They want their computers to have as long battery as possible. And those two things are more important than how fast they run or how, I guess, like how hot they get is a concern, but it is secondary. They will let them get really hot before kicking on the fans. One of the reasons they want to go to the M chips is because the Intels were getting too hot for what they wanted. And I remember there was a big sort of like online thing where it's like, okay, we'll just run fans. And Apple's like, nope, that's against our like internal design is no fans, or we want minimum fans. Or at least silent fans, so you can't tell. All right, so where we were here, let's figure this out because we've got time. So okay, so we've updated the create router, and we've added in this route for games. Okay, good. So we're adding a route to the router with the path /games. We're using plural. We're using this route to, I guess, like match, to work with, to conform to rest best practices. Best practice is such a weird term. Who has those? It's there's a document, I guess it's REST API. Okay, so where did I put them? Maybe it's under standards REST. Is there a plural? Plural. There's nothing in here about that. Plural. No. This is also that went to APIs you won't hate. So that's not right. Who else is it? There was the company that makes Swagger. That's what it is. Swagger wrote this, and they had a section here for plural. So you can see this, like that. So noun describe yours better. Having the same plurality across all resources. Okay, so is there a link directly to this? Probably not. All right, so maybe I shouldn't say to confirm. We're using this route. Since I agree with the Swagger article on route naming and plurality. This isn't important for, I guess I'll just do that. Then you can go choose to read that or not. Okay, so we have that. We create the router. Okay, so that's in there. Now, of course, we can't hit this route yet and pass in any data since it doesn't know how to extract it. Let's change that by adding in a JSON extractor. So we're back to source routes games RS, or yeah, games at RS, I think. Routes games at RS. Okay, yeah. So we're gonna do a JSON extractor like this. So JSON, we're gonna do a game, and its type is JSON game. Ooh, and I should, okay, so if I added in debug, I could tracing this out. Let's just go ahead and add source routes games.rs. Okay. This feels like magic. But I guess it's really just the magic of traits. We are using the JSON enum, which implements the extractor. I should double check what exactly this implements. I want to go to definition. And can I actually see the impulse for this? Okay, so we have, oh, into response. No, impulse from request. From T for JSON T. Is it that one? Is that the one that we're... No, it's not from, because that's an actual, like, I think it's into request, I think is what. So impl from request. This is what I think we're dealing with it. So it's deserializing it. Yeah, deserialized owned. Okay, so AirSense sync. Okay, so JSON rejection. We have all that stuff. And it's doing some fun things behind the scenes. But yeah, so it's deserializing it. So deserializing is coming back into the Rust code. So this is the one. So it impulls the from request trait. So it implements the from request trait behind the scenes. Well, I guess like it impulls the from request trait, which means that Axum knows Axum doesn't have to care. So like Axum it feels like dependency injection. So that it's that we get to use it as if now we do have to put it at the very end. And so like I'm trying to figure out like how do I want to word this? It's like they're implementing the from request trait, which means that we get to use it and just like as if it already exists, as if like, you know, we don't have to worry about like how it works. I guess we get to use it without worrying about how it's implemented. Note, or I guess like I'll do a note for this later. So like consideration. So like maybe we'll just do like a considerations or something about like JSON extractor has to be last. So we'll do this. We'll do this later. Scott, you started using a debug. Oh no, sorry. Will Giller, you start using a debugger. This is heaven. Nice. So I go back and forth on how useful debuggers are for me on the back end, but on the front end in a browser, oh man, debuggers are the best. Half the time with asynchronous code and other stuff, seeing when it's coming through, what's going on, what the state is. Oh man, it's so amazing. With the Rust code though, I generally find printing stuff out is usually just enough. Oh, you see, so it's so much better than the RSEG fault. Okay, I can totally get that. So ZenX Master, how to use them? So it depends. If it's a browser, so if we come to like the browser here, for example, not that command. In the debugger here, you can sort of see code and you can say, okay, well, if anything ever changes, like let's find some code that they have here. Who knows what some of this is? I guess like here are some assets. Here's some JavaScript that they have. It's all minimized. This is not quite as helpful, but I can say, okay, if this happens, I want like to watch whenever this changes, or I want to break point on this line. So if like something ever happens here, and I can hit refresh, the breakpoint stays. It's like, okay, we've stopped here. We've paused. Now this is literally jQuery cookie. So I paused. Now I can go in and say like, okay, well, what's I? I can actually go in and say like, okay, go until it's gotten to a little bit farther in, and then run the next one. So I can breakpoint to very specific spots in here. jQuery is not really the best choice for this. I don't know where theirs is. This is their HTML. Do they put the scripts? Do they even have? Oh, do they even have JavaScript running? That's theirs. They have some stuff, but not really. It's like web forms, stuff like that. So I can put a breakpoint on there. I can hit refresh. It didn't hit that breakpoint, so we know that this line of code didn't get run. And so I can do stuff until it happens. Then when it does happen, I can then go and like look at them. I can say, okay, well, what's going on with this? I want to see what this dot event target is. So right now it's undefined, but if I get into this function and this happens, I will, I'll see it. But I don't know what's going to happen to get it to show up there. So this is what like a debugger can give you. Now, command line debuggers will give you this kind of thing also, except with less of a really cool GUI. So you have to do it through like command line, which is nowhere near as nice as this. So I generally only use this one on the web. The other one is okay. I think I actually have it set up in Helix here, but I don't remember anymore. It's like debug, launch debug target. Oh, right. I have to like do the like binary terminal, and I have to tell it to go like, okay, go to target. Not source on it. Oh, we can't even find it because it's ignoring it through. I have to remove this from the get ignore, which really sucks. Oh, did you find it? Okay, finally found it. So debug, and then I want is the Axum JSON. So if I do that, no external. Okay, so that was wrong. Nope, that's wrong. What is it? It's oh, it's that. Debugger is already running. Okay, so that just completely failed. How do I stop? And end debug session, please. Okay, I don't think it's doing anything. Oh, launch. Okay, so binary. Terminated debug session and disconnected debugger. Okay, that's really cool. It that failed. I haven't tried Axum debugging before. I've tried like normal program debugging, and it works. It's just not quite as nice. You really like this front end for GBD called GF so much better than a command line debugger. Okay, yeah, I could see any front end is usually better than a command line debugger. I've really disliked them all. Andrew, you're done with university for today. Awesome. That means you have hopefully a few hours to do something fun. All right. Where were we? So This feels like magic, but it's really just the magic of traits. We're using the JSON enum, which implements the from request trait, which means that we get to use it without worrying about how it's implemented. JSON is a tuple struct, and we can destructure it. So destructure it in the create game signature, which gives us access to the contained game in the game variable without having to sort of like extract it in a like in a line of code inside the function. I hope that makes sense. I'm trying to be like slow and sort of like methodical about this, since a lot of people won't necessarily know destructuring or like what's going on here. So it's like, oh, this is just literally magic. But it's not quite. Oh, the debugger sometimes does crash sometimes when you press start twice, and it's really funny. That is funny when the debugger crashes, which then makes the entire point of running debugger completely useless. What's new today? What about debugger? Oh, we're just sort of like chatting about that because we had heard about it. Xanax, you've discovered plugins for Vim. Yeah, there are a lot of plugins for Vim, and it's like there are a lot. Yes, yes, very true. It is a rabbit hole. There's a few that are probably more important than the other ones. The other thing is, and this is just a suggestion, be careful with going down the rabbit hole. I would highly suggest installing one, maybe two plugins at a time. Just like start really slowly, because if something breaks, and like plugins are essentially changing the entire Vim experience for you. Some of them add in or change your keyboard shortcuts. If they do something like that and you install like 5 of them, you won't know which one maybe just sort of like change things for you, and that could cause weirdness. So I would suggest install one plugin at a time, go around, play with that for a little bit, and then back again. They're really old. Nobody is developing Vim anymore. Vim is being developed, and it is being updated. But the other way to think about that is, does it need, like, do they need to be updated? Like, Vim hasn't really changed its sort of like how it works. So, I mean, I would say it's not that nobody is developing Vim anymore. It's more of nobody needs to develop the plugins anymore. Yeah, and the plugins last forever. So they generally don't need updates. Generally. If you wanted to, because you're at the beginning of your Vim journey, if you wanted to switch over to where everybody seems to be hanging out these days in the Vim pool, they're all in the Neo Vim pool, or at least a lot of people. Xanax, maybe something that would be a little bit easier. Okay, what do you want in your Vim? What is it that you're trying to get to? So like, do you want to look at like VS Code and like say, hey, I want that one feature in my Vim. If you can see that, then maybe we can help out with a suggestion. But yeah, otherwise it's just going to be like, here's what we love. And you're just gonna get like 100 ideas. NeoVim is interesting because it can actually Vim plugins work in NeoVim, so you're gonna get some interesting stuff for that. Okay, you want to see some pretty formatting and some colors there. Okay, so you're gonna need a language server. So the COC that was linked, that's a good one to go with. And then you need to install the language server, and I think that's it, right? If there's any instructions, they'll be in there to say like what you need next. So like the COC. That's the suggestion. All right. JSON tuple structure, we can structure it in the create game signature, which gives us access to the contained game in the game variable without having to extract it in a line of code inside the function. Let's change this to be like data. You have Vim, but also NVim. How do I know which you are using? That's so if you type -- version, it'll show you what it is. Now I rewrote my Vim goes to NVim. So my when I launch Vim, I'm really launching NeoVim. So I would do -- version, and that should tell you what you're doing. The other thing is, yes, if you do which Vim, that'll show you what you're really getting. So like, okay, that's alias to NVim. So if I do which NVim, that shows me where that lives, and like essentially I can tell, oh, Homebrew installed this. Okay, so I know how to update it too now. Vim VI improved. Okay, so you're actually using Vim. You have your NeoVim alias to VI because you're lazy. I used VI for years before I discovered Vim. With brand passing, will Vim still be updated? Whereas NeoVim being community driven, upgrades will continue. I would imagine that it's still going to be updated because it's become bigger than Bram. I mean, it became bigger than Bram a long time ago. So I would imagine it's still going to be updated. But that being said, it might be slower. Bram was the creator of it? Or like maintainer? Had the keys? But of course, it's not just Bram. And I think it is something to sort of consider, is if we're using a project, if we're using anything, is it being maintained by a single person that if they were to disappear off the face of the internet, would you be screwed because there's no updates coming anymore? And there's a few of them out there that would actually happen, and bad things would, or at least no updates would happen. Anyways, for the version, it sounds like you figured out what you've got. Okay, so get this tuple struct. So we have this here. Let's head back to you. So this gives us access to a game. Okay, so JSON tuple struct. Okay, so we can now do whatever we want with this game. Normally or like in a real API, we would probably create a row, like insert it into a database. Okay, we would insert into a database and return the result so that the front end knows what the ID is and that everything was successful. All right, so we have that. So we're taking it in the game. I guess like if we want to print out the game to the console, to I guess like see, just to verify it, to see it, we need to make sure that the struct implements debug. Let's see. We can then use tracing or the debug macro to print out the game variable whenever this route is hit. Okay, so if I want to do that, let's go to models game. Add in debug. Then we'll go to routes games. Let's add in a tracing debug. I guess. Oh, you know what? We have to do this. So we have to have. Come on. Stop. Stop. Okay, that. We have game and then I guess we just throw the game in there. Game doesn't. Oh, right. Then I can tell you to do that. And then you're happy, and then we'll see this down here when we restart you. If I full screen you, and it's been a while since I've used curl for this. So I think I can do curl dash. Is it P or is it B? I think it's B, right? For body. And then I could just hand it and this. Oh, yes, I see that. Yep. Thank you and goodbye. Okay. We can do this. We have something like name. Oh, do I have to do like full JSON? I probably do. That kind of, yeah. Curl at this point when using curl like that is like, is it really worth it? We can use, I have Rapid API installed. A Rapid API is very similar to Postman. It used to be known as PA, and I believe it's Mac only. I don't know. That may or may not be true. Where'd it go? Oh, right. And it does this weird thing where when I launch it, it launches under everything else. So it's now Rapid API. Let's create a new project. Okay, I want to do a post to localhost 3000/games. And let's see. In the body, we're gonna have JSON. All right, I need to remember what we have in here. All right, we have name. Okay, what's the name of the game? I'll add in all the other stuff too. Platform. Owned. Completed. I guess we tried Vampire Survivors before, so let's do that one. Vampire Survivors. Platform we tried here on PC. Or I guess this would be Steam, right? So this has to be Steam. Owned is true. I don't think I have to here, because I'm pretty sure this is going to add that for me. I'm pretty sure. We'll find out. And completed, let's just, I haven't 100%ed everything, so false. Then if I send this, okay, failed to serialize the JSON body into the target type, invalid string true, because you are a string true and I want you to be a Boolean true, and completed, you should also be a Boolean true. Okay, there it goes. I get this back at 200. Okay, but like nothing. Content length 0. But I should get back. We should see this. So here is our debug. And we see the game name Vampire Survivors, platform Steam, own true, completed true. I do need it in a curl case, right? Which is why it gets like really, it gets, for me, tedious if I'm trying to like create a curl by hand with like anything more than the bare minimum of curl. I'm sorry, I can't pause. Actually, it's 8:30, so like I usually end around 8:45. So sorry. We're here for a few more minutes. Usually there's like an export to curl, but I forget how to do that, or it's like I forget how to do that in Rapid API. But okay, so that works, and we get this printed out. Okay, so if we want to print out the game of the consoles, we need to make sure that debug master the print out the game whenever this route is hit. Okay, so that's all good here. So this is like taking in. So we can now say like we can now test our API with Thunder Client and make sure that the game is deserializing and printing to the console. All right. JSON extractor needs to be last. So I think this actually needs to be 4. Right? We have, yeah, where to put the structs. Yeah, let's do this as part of extracting. Okay, so 4. So in this case, we only have the JSON extractor. So we don't need to worry about other extractors. However, if we did have other extractors like query or header map, then they would break. Then the compiler would give us an error message. Let's see if we can create one. So I want to go to routes games, and let's behind JSON, let's put in maybe not query, we could do path. So I could do path, or maybe header map. We could do headers, header map. Okay, so if we do that, you should be really upset. And then here this is the error we get. This is I don't like this error. Okay, so if I try to run this, we're gonna get this error here. Let's throw this in. Let's just throw everything in here. Okay. We have cargo run compiling this. Then we get the trait handler, and then that is not implemented for function item function JSON game header map blah 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 required by a Brown introduced by this call. Help the following other types implement this trait. So what this is really saying though is okay. So this error first of all, this error is found in the mod, in the routes mod.rs file, and can be a bit confusing first time you see it. It's complaining because the body of the request was consumed by the JSON extractor before the header map where the header map extractor could do its thing. To fix this error, move the JSON extractor to be last. Everything else, I guess like the order for all other extractors don't matter. Welcome back. That was fast. Okay. The order for all their extractors don't matter. Okay, so we got that. So then let's double check that I'm not insane. We're going to go to That's Games. We're going to basically take our JSON. And I want to delete you. Yeah, like that. Okay. And now, if we come back to here, you're happy and you're happy and actually running. So, yay. Okay. Now, did I, let's see. However, if we did have other extractors like query or heady map after the JSON extractor, then the compiler would give us an error message like this. This error is found in the routes mod file, and it can be a bit confusing the first time you see it. It's complaining because the body of the request was consumed by the JSON extractor before the header map extractor could do its thing. To fix this error, move the JSON extractor to be the last. To be the last extractor. I feel that I'm using the word extractor a lot, but I also want to be explicit. So I'm going to allow it, even though it feels maybe like it doesn't flow very well. Or just feels awkward. The order for all their extractors doesn't matter. With maybe a caveat. So the only caveat to this is okay, so maybe I should explain it a slightly different way. So the error is found in the routes mod file. It can be a bit confusing the first time I see it. It's complaining because the body of the request was consumed by the JSON extractor before the header map extractor could do this thing. Any extractor that pulls data from the body of the request will consume the request and make it unavailable to future to extractors that come after it. To fix this error, move the JSON extractor to be the last extractor. The order for all other extractors, so the order for extractors that don't consume the body doesn't matter. There, I like that a little bit more. Okay, so that is now reading in JSON. And I think this is a huge thing because I see this all the time, especially after Axum 0.16 came out, when they implemented this change. My course on YouTube had JSON just in random places all throughout because it did not consume the body. And then they made that change, and yeah, that's fun. But okay, so it's 8:41. I don't really have time to write the next section of this. The next section is going to be the responding with JSON. So today is Friday. I might end up writing some of this, or finish writing this on the weekend. I sometimes do that. But the next planned stream will be Monday morning. So I plan to be back Monday, basically every weekday next week at around 6 a.m. Mountain Time until around this time of day. we'll probably continue working on this, where it's just sort of like random stuff here and there, but mostly on working on these articles. Every weekday. I generally stream on Mondays through Fridays, 6 a.m. until like 8:30, 8:45. Not every weekend. Sorry. I'm taking the weekends off. Gonna go hang out with the family and go upstairs, maybe play some games. Do all that stuff. So that should be fun. Now let's see what games I have. So I have Baldur's Gate 3, and I've been enjoying that a lot. And then I also am going to be getting, I splurged and I got Starfield, but I did not splurge for the early access. So I'm actually I'm waiting until it's available, and then I'll probably play that a bunch too. So those are the games I'm going to play. I generally don't play them on stream. I don't think I'm that interesting for it. I like Bethesda games. So even though they're broken, usually it's fun. I know it's interesting that I don't stream. Yeah, I'll play Starfield. Let's see. That's all I've got. So let's see. Anybody? Raimu is online. Raimu, we've rated Raimu a few times the last few weeks. Raimu's been learning eGUI, WGPU, and Rapier code in Rust. So let's go ahead up and set up a raid to Raimu. So raid Raimu. All right. We've got all that set up. So Raimu's doing a lot of game dev type stuff. So if you're interested in that in Rust, then Raimu is a great person to follow. Everybody have a great rest of your day. Have a great weekend. And I will see you next time, whenever that is. Bye.